Don't you want to whisper in it and say segment 7.8 or something like
I
that?
already lost track.
Day 2,
Day
segment
2,
4.
segment 4.
Thanks, Jim.
Smack. No, we go smack. So you got the knockdown questions, you've got your must-have information questions, you've got your throw-off questions, and then the final grouping of questions is the comparatives. Now here's the neat thing about comparatives. It makes them choose between A or B. You know, if you remember the Two of Hearts when I did that, you know, I'm going to ask you to pick a color. How many colors are there anyway? There's only, what is it? 2. Yeah, there's black and red. Pick one.
Yeah.
I'm only letting you pick one or the other, because if I let you pick one or the other, you're going to go in one direction or the other. You're going to have to make a choice. But here's where a comparative really helps you get them to the right criteria, because the point to the comparatives is to help them establish in their mind how they're going to pick an agent. So many times you go into a home and someone says to you, well, look, we're ready to list if you're willing to do it at 4%. Now, you might think, well, if I'm willing to do it at 4%, I got a listing, but that's only the beginning. You see, the beginning is now they want to hit you on the commission. Next thing is they're going to expect you to have it open every week, and then they're going to want you to have it at too high of a price, and you're not going to win because that relationship is off on the wrong side of it. So the questions really helps pull them in. The comparatives go something like this. It's where you know where you want to take the answers, like a Two of Heart. We know that the criteria for them hiring should be the following. So let's make sure that we're in agreement. They should hire someone that can A, get the job done, and B, put the most money in their pocket. But that isn't the criteria they use. So if everything we do in the comparative series of questions is comparing what's important to them to what should be important, you know, we can agree ourselves logically that getting the job done is important. But how many times have they picked an agent not based on their ability to get the job done, but based on something else, like they told me a better lie? You know? And here's what they'll say. You know what? If you can get us our price, we'll hire you. Well, the real question then is this. What's more important? Whichever agent tells you the highest price, or hiring an agent that can get the job done? And pick one. That's called a comparative. So we go through these different crazy criteria, the things that they say that's important to them, and we could go through a whole slew of it, because, you know, the only way you're going to find out what their criteria is to ask them questions. So Jim, you had mentioned that you had sold a house, what, about 5 years ago, is that right?
That's right.
How'd you go about picking that agent? What was your criteria?
Make sure they get the job done.
Okay, good. Now they would never tell you that, by the way.
I thought you were asking me personally. I'm sorry.
No, edit. No, but if I'm doing that, you could almost categorize that as a throw-off, or you could look at that and say it's setting me up for a comparative. Because if I look back to the last time they sold a house, if it was an expired prospect, let's say it's someone that they already had on the market, I'm not knocking the person they had on the market with, but what if I ask them this question, how'd you go about picking that agent? And they say, we knew him from church. That's great. How are you going to go pick the next one? Because knowing him from church isn't anything I could do a comparison with. You know, because that's not a bad thing. It's just that it didn't work out. So how are you going to pick the next one? And they said, well, I guess we're probably going to go with whoever has the best marketing plan. When you look at the comparative of a marketing plan, what do you think is more important? Someone with the best marketing plan, or someone who can get the job done?
Get the job done.
Now, we could look at job done or most money in pocket. Because what should matter to them, and this goes back to commission, when they say, well, we're going to go with whoever charges the lowest commission. Well, let me ask you something then. What really matters the most to you guys? How much money you pay out, or how much money you keep? Keep, pay out. Now, what would they say to that? What do you think is the most important to that? How much do you keep, how much you pay out?
Keep.
Right. That's a comparative. Because if all they're concerned about is how much I spend, and they don't care how much they end up with, they're probably not the kind of people you want to work with. And there's some people out there. And you might have to ask the question more than once. They say, well, we're going to go with the company that's got the most active listings in our area. Well, here's a question. What's more important to you, Jim? The company with the most listings, or the company that can get the job done? Because it would seem to me that you're more interested in getting a company who can get your house sold than you are a company who can put a sign in the yard. Which would you go with? I could ask it the other way, which is, what's more important? Going with the largest company or the company that could get the job done and put the most money in your pocket? Which is more important? It's all comparatives. They say, well, we're going to go with that agent over there because he's had the most experience. Well, let me ask you something. What's more important to you guys? Going with the guy that's got the most experience or the guy that can get the job done? Well, we talked to so-and-so and she said she could sell it for a whole lot more. Well, let me ask you this. What's more important to you? The agent who tells you your home is worth the most or the agent that can put the most money in your pocket? And the reason we ask these comparatives is we're trying to get them to see that the criteria falls into two things. We're going to get their criteria to be, I'm going to hire an agent based upon the following criteria. Whoever can get the job done and put the most money in my pocket. Not the largest company, not the brightest agent, not the one with the most listings, not the one with the most